Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by top promoter Dmitry Salita. Dmitry, how are you?
I'm doing great. Nice to connect with you again.
And you. Lots going on at the moment. You've got a big world title shot coming up for one of your fighters, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let's go first to your Detroit show, back to the Motor City.
Yes, back to City, Michigan has produced and is producing some of the best talent in the USA. So we have several fighters fighting on the card. Deval Smith from the Crown Boxing Gym, very hot middleweight prospect. Joseph Hicks, U.S. Olympic team captain, another hot middleweight prospect. Joshua Pagan, hot junior welterweight prospect. Pagan was a U.S. national champion. Joseph Hicks, U.S. Olympic team captain. And we have Marlon Harrington, did not have a great amateur boxing career, but has big power and has been working hard in the gym. 9-1 and going to go for that 10th win. So very excited about next week and looking forward to good fights.
And growing the sport in Michigan, how much does that platform help you when trying to attract the best young talent like Joshua and Joseph?
Well, yeah, I feel like our consistency and our ability to be able to bring big events to the city of Detroit over the last several years, including the last one, Little Caesars. We've had several Showtime events. We've helped PBC promote Anthony Durrell fight in Flint, Michigan, which was also on Fox Sports. So it's great, and and Detroit is not just a town somewhere, anywhere. It's a big fight. Joe Louis, Tommy Hearns, Crown Boxing Gym, Floyd Mayweather's from the state of Michigan, Claressa Shields. The state of Ohio is just an hour's drive away. Also has some incredibly talented boxers, and we've seen over the summer with Claressa packing over 11,000 people at Little Caesars Arena. Then Alicia Baumgardner, let's put away the controversy, but just the fact that she defended her world title here in Detroit. Jermaine Franklin from the state of Michigan. So there's lots of talent. Several young fighters going to the Olympic trials. And I really believe that with consistency, good things will happen and boxing will grow here.
How easy will it be when they get to championship level to keep them in Detroit or in Michigan rather than transferring to, New York, Las Vegas?
So, my mission statement is to make Detroit one of the hubs of professional boxing, one of the worldwide hubs of professional boxing. And there's an airport here, direct flights from London, by the way. If any of you guys want to come here for the fights, or any of the boxing fans want to come over for the fights. So I believe that it's very important to build fighters early, locally, from the beginning of their career with their fans, to build a relationship. And that's what we've been doing with all the fighters we represent. A great example is Claressa. She's fought here from her second professional fight, and build a tremendous fan base. But the young fighters that are 4-6 round fighters, very important as they go through different growths of their professional career. Some fights are easy, some fights are hard, sometimes unexpected things happen, and all of that builds a relationship with the fighters, builds a relationship with local press, and that builds boxing, that builds a relationship. And that one of the things that we have to do as a sport is promote the sport of boxing on the grassroots level to the fans, because the boxing fans, the locals, have to be passionate about the sport, and it's like it's a ripple effect. So that's what we've been doing, and it's come along great. And Detroit, sports town, one of the few cities in the United States, all the major league teams, basketball, hockey, baseball, football, but boxing that's been bringing championships to the city. So excited about the young fighters and taking next in doing great things here.
Good. Now, October the 14th.
Sugar Hill, sorry, as it relates to the UK fans, Sugar Hill Stewart, Texas Fury trainer here from Detroit, Jonathan Banks, Detroit, Trayvon Chambers with Jake Paul from Detroit. So it has a lot of great boxing minds, and it is another couple of champions, and it'll back to its heyday. It'll be producing boxing champion like it used to produce cars. Heyday.
That's good to hear. And someone who knows about the growth of boxing in Detroit is Shohajon Ergashev, of course. He's got his IBF super lightweight title shot against Subriel Matias, October the 14th. He seems to have been in or around that world championship level for a little while now. Are you glad that it's over the line and we're going to get to see that fight?
You know, we've tried to make big fights for Ergashev for the longest, and all the big names, all the really good fighters, the elite names in the division, did not want to take a fight him. So we knew that the only way to be able to give Ergashev that opportunity is to make him the mandatory, and that's one of the reasons why he hasn't fought, because we've been really working and marching towards that position in a very consistent way, and very glad and happy that it came together. Tough fight against Subriel Matias. He's considered one of the best junior welterweights in the world. So it's a real test for Ergashev and a real opportunity to prove himself with one fight, that he's a big name in the division. He's obviously had several fights on ShowBox, Showtime, so some boxing fans know this, but this is an opportunity for him to really make a name for himself and cement himself as the elite guy in the junior welterweight division, and hopefully make all the praise that I've been saying about him come true.
And talking of that 140-pound division, I saw a report today that Top Rank are going to exert some pressure or some encouragement on the WBO to make their champion, Teofimo Lopez, super champion designation, allowing him a bit more flexibility with mandatories and so on. The idea apparently is to then maybe install him as mandatory at welterweight for Terence Crawford. What would you make of that move if it comes to fruition?
That's very interesting. Well, Terence Crawford beats him. He's bigger, he's better, he's more disciplined, but certainly, yeah, I guess a big fight just because of their names. But I feel like the boxing core, I don't know if they will really take that fight and be excited about it. It's interesting because Crawford versus Canelo is exciting and is interesting, because Crawford has been so dominant, and Canelo is also coming up in weight, meaning from, he started as a lighter guy, and he's not a big super middleweight, meaning he's not a tall big guy. If you look at him and Charlo, Charlo looks bigger, even though he's coming up 2 weight divisions. So it's interesting that the fighters want to make the big fights, and for the sport to grow, that's what needs to happen. And we've seen recently with all the great pay-per-views that people say, well, UFC is taking over boxing. This is happening, that is happening. The sport has become a niche, it's dying. But look at these numbers: over 1 million buys, tens of millions of dollars at the gate. I mean, it's really incredible. Sold out arenas. So if we as a boxing community can organize ourselves and come together and have some common initiatives, I really believe that through that the sport will grow to heights never before seen.
And if Ergashev gets the job done against Matias on October the 14th, is Teofimo Lopez and maybe even Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall, are those the sort of guys on your radar? Regis Prograis
For sure, yes.
as well?
Regis Prograis, yeah. Great, David Haney, definitely. We want the biggest and the best fights, and we're taking a step in that direction by fighting Matias, who's not a huge name, but is recognized as a real champion in the division, meaning not just a belt holder, but a real champion. And tough fight for Ergashev. I really believe that he has all the tools and the power to become a star and to beat a quality guy like that. But Ergashev versus all those guys, Adrian Broner, even lurking in the background, Ergashev, and he's a really big guy. So we'd like for him to have a couple of defenses at junior welterweight and move up to welterweight. And he has debilitating power. I really believe in this fight with their styles. It's going to be like a Gotti Ward type of an affair. Both of the guys are going to come forward, both big punchers, both very motivated, and really great boxing. And I see my on top.
And at welterweight, you mentioned there about moving up. We talked earlier about Teofimo Lopez potentially going to 147. It's now been reported that Errol Spence has decided to exercise the rematch clause against Terence Crawford, albeit it may not be at 147. It may be up at 154. What do you make of him opting for an immediate rematch?
Well, probably several energies in play. As a fighter, he probably wants to redeem himself and do better. And I do think the weight had something to do with it, but I believe that the result will be the same. And a significant payday that offer that performance, meaning offer that loss, he probably will not be able to get this kind of opportunity anywhere. And it is towards the end of his career, and he has to make the big fights and make the big moves and really test himself to see if he's got it. So is it going to have the same interest as the first fight? No, but I do believe that it'll have some interest, and I do believe that it'll still do well at the box office. And really, Crawford here in the United States is becoming a superstar. He's on all the talk shows. He was on Joe Rogan. He's really, crossing over and becoming a big star. And he's such a humble guy and such a good guy that I believe that it's good for sports fans to be able to see a fighter like that highlighted and star-studded, lives a clean life as a family guy, doesn't get into trouble. And many times, kind of the naysayers of boxing want to associate bad behavior of boxers with saying why the sport, hasn't gotten to as big as it could get. And if you think about it, really, the sport has all the tools to be bigger than it really is. It has all the tools to be a major league sport. It's just all our responsibility of being fractured and not being able to pull things together to tell the stories, to make the fights, and to inspire the fans to attend to attend events, to support their fighters locally and nationally and internationally. But I do believe that social media and all the great entertainment initiatives happening in this day and age, and all the great things that boxing has to offer, boxers are some of the best athletes in the world. I really believe that it has the opportunity and all the ingredients to be a big, big sport.
And do you think it benefits Crawford in the hopes of securing that massive fight with Canelo, that he gets a win potentially at 154 because it shows he can compete at a higher weight?
Definitely. And I think that the timing makes sense because the fight is going to happen, looks like, before the end of the year, maybe early next year. So definitely, I think that they'll give more, put more promise in people's mind to the fact that Crawford can move up in weight and fight Canelo. And I believe that Crawford versus Canelo is probably one of the biggest fights, I would say, in 20, 30 years. That would be massive. And very exciting and very interesting because I got to give Crawford a chance. And look forward to seeing Canelo's fight with Charlo, because Canelo, over the last couple of fights, has been good, but hasn't been great. Hasn't been as special as we're used to seeing him. So interesting to see what the trajectory of his career is, and how he performs against Charlo.
Now, I can't let you go without talking about your most celebrated charge, of course, Claressa Shields. We saw her arch rival and recent victim, Savannah Marshall, join the PFL, following very much in Savannah's footsteps recently. What did you make of that move?
The move of Savannah coming to the PFL?
Yeah.
Well, combat sports is becoming a hybrid, and both Claressa and Savannah are still at the peak of their careers. There's a genuine rivalry and a genuine dislike. If they played chess, it'd be interesting because they would want to beat each other. If they play ping pong or basketball or whatever, there's a real rivalry and a real desire to win and to be the best. So obviously, MMA is a combat sport, and Savannah is a big puncher. So maybe with the smaller gloves, with less restrictions, so to say, she feels more confident in that space. But overall, for us and for Claressa, it's an opportunity to expand her brand, to make it more global, to make it more international, to appeal to more fans. I was at the Garden last Wednesday when Claressa and Savannah were there, and you're looking at the crowd, great crowd, but they weren't your typical boxing fan. They were different type of crowd, and they celebrated Claressa. Everyone took pictures, posed for autographs, all that stuff. So it's very good for Claressa to appeal to those fans and to make a connection, to tell her story, and for sure they will follow her into the boxing ring, from the cage to the ring.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll see Savannah and Claressa cross swords in PFL before they rematch in boxing?
No, I think that they'll first. I mean, if there's a rematch in boxing, I believe that'll happen first. Savannah obviously has never had any fights in the PFL. She needs 1, 2, or 3 to get her feet wet and her hands wet, and just to see what it's like in the cage. And obviously has to build a story. She has to be successful and be good, and show that she knows what she's doing. Claressa would probably fight or two before, two of them, before there's a real talk of them fighting.
Good stuff. Dmitry, always appreciate your time and your insight. Let's do this again soon, but good luck with preparations for the shows to come.
Very good. I appreciate it.
Cheers. All right.
Much.
Take care.
Always a pleasure to be on, and always good to read the comments of Seconds Out fans.
Yeah. All right. Fingers crossed.
Very good.
All right. Cheers, Dmitry. Take care.
Yes.